Hello and welcome back to Universal Love Law. Today I'm going to be doing a video on the 6th house stellium. Okay, so boom, I have my beautiful little, I'm a very visual creative person, okay? I have Leo in the 6th house, so with no planets there. So basically I want to just break down what is the 6th house, okay? So the 6th house is the service to others and the service to ourselves, okay? The service that we receive and the service that we give. And it's ultimately how we perform a job and how we get a job done, whether it be something around the home or even if it's at work, okay? And so it's absolutely okay if you have no planets there. That just means that there's not a lot of emphasis or a lot of learning processes that's needed in the 6th house. Usually when there's a lot of planets in a certain house, that means that's the area you need to focus on, either because you don't have no understanding of that house spiritually, your higher self, or you're here to master yourself in that area, okay? So if there are no houses and planets in that 6th house of yours, don't worry. That means that you're just going to play out the attributes of the sign that falls within the house, whether it be whatever element, mutable, cardinal, fixed, or whether it be fire, water, earth, air. You want to look at that. So the 6th house is originally ruled by Virgo. It's a mutable house, and most importantly, it's a cadent house, okay? So you think about the cadent, right? So that's the 1, 2, 1, 2. It's like a march. It's something that's consistent. It's something that it's happening regardless if we're putting any effort or not. So it's kind of a submissive house. It's one of those houses that are done to us or taught to us throughout our life. And it's not something more so like a succeedant house where we're going after it or where opportunities come forth or something like that. It's more so something that's consistently happening, even if you're not really noticing it. It's a part of our routine. It's a part of our consistency. So when we have the 6th house stellium, oh my God, you guys, wow, there's a lot to learn about just focusing on what is important. So I'm going to go through all the planets, and I say focusing on what's important because the 6th house deals with work, okay, and getting things done, versus the 5th house, the one prior to it, which is, more fun, creativity, romance. Now it's getting a little bit more serious, like, okay, like, how are you getting things done? How is your performance? How is your work performance? Whether it be just putting something together at home or going to work and actually doing your job. Like, are you focused to detail? Like, do you have good hands? Like, are you skillful? Like, do you know trades? Like, all that is really plays out into the 6th house, okay? So, let's see, did I leave anything out? Mutable. So it's a cadent house. Let's start with the sun. So let's say you have your sun in the 6th house. This is someone who is very devoted to their routine and work. Someone that is known for the work that they do. Someone who is, if their sun is not debilitated, meaning there's not a lot of negative, harsh aspects, meaning like squares or oppositions to the 6th house, to the sun, then this is someone who is known for the work that they do, and it's someone who takes pride in the work that they do, and it's a part of their life purpose. Whatever they work and whatever they do, even at home, anything that they're into, anything that they feel as though is a part of their divine purpose, it plays out in the way that they give that service. The service that they provide for others is seen. The sun is there, is shown. The service that they receive from others is received with light and abundance and gratefulness. It's grateful attitude. Sun in the 6th house people usually are work orientated or get things done type of orientated people. They're the people who are on the go, maybe just consistently moving and getting things done and doing little things, okay? Even doing little things around the house. And it also deals with our impulsiveness. So these are people who could probably be depending on the earth, depending on if the sun is in earth, water, fire, or air. It will really play out on how their attitude is towards the work that they do. So I'll go through the elements. So let's say it's airy. So these are people who get a lot of work done, utilizing their common sense, and also using forms of communication to connect or work things out. Medium, someone who gets things done, someone who gets things done through communicating and through some form of intellect. Even if their work deals with writing, or if their work deals with telemarketing or something, where they're the speakers. Okay, so it can even move in towards people who have more responsibility in being the spokesman for their job, or someone who's like, talking about what we do here, or this is what we do. Oh, they will be great. Air, sun house people in the sixth house. Air, sun, sixth house people will definitely do great in any job that's representing their company and vocalizing it. Or even just any kind of work that they may do dealing with communicating. YouTubers, okay? There might be a lot of YouTubers that have sun sixth house people in the air sector, because a lot of YouTube deals with a lot of dialogue, a lot of communication, okay? That kind of just made me think of the age of Aquarius and how we're moving into a technical world, and how it's bringing forth the groups with communication, but like individuals. So we're in our own bubble, in our own world, but we're communicating via virtually. And so that's how it's like we still have our groups, but we're in our own world. Like we could instantly shut that off and then go away. I love it. Okay. But yeah, so I don't know why I thought of that. But yeah, so that's air. Moving on to like fire. So if you have fire in the sixth house sun, these are people who are impulsive, who likes to get things done, who are very dramatic maybe, and very vocal, like when it comes to expressing themselves, because the sun is seen, it's your actions, it's how you do things. Fire is expression and passion, and in the sixth house is your the service that you provide. So you could definitely be in a service of creativity, something creative, some type of dramatic arts, some type of performance, some type of just caring for others, doing things for other people. But you also could be very impulsive, quick tempered, like move a lot, very choppy at work, or just doing a lot, like not really consistently in one place, just roaming like because you got to remember, originally the sixth house is ruled by Virgo, so it's paying attention to detail and things of that nature. So if you have fire there, that might be like a squaring off, like it might be kind of difficult too, like to really hone in on your ability. But once you do, you're able to really creatively express yourself and be a good service to others and receive good merit as well. Like people will appreciate you and the work that you do, the things that you give, and it's beautiful. So let's move on to water. So if you have more watery, nurturing, emotional, fluidity. I made that up, I think. But if you have more fluids there in the sixth house, then that means that you have the ability to nurture. You have the ability to take care of things. I see someone who has plants around the house, maybe a garden, someone who just gets little things done and nurture the things that they have, or the people that they have, or the people that they work with, and maybe in the field of helping or giving to others. And could even be very selfless. These are people who take care of the elderly. Wow, I'm getting this download like that, but these are people who are just very kind and self-sacrificing. So, give to others before even receiving or thinking about receiving. but also needing their cup filled as well, because all that water in the house of service and giving, you can overflow and give too much of yourself. So it's important to keep some for yourself. And then if you have Earth in the sixth house, these are people who are very grounded and practical about working and getting things done. They may have a methodical, worked out plan on how they're going to achieve their goal, and what tools they may need. And it's a very steady process. It's something that's like very step by step when it comes in the area of work and giving and doing for someone and learning too. Okay, learning new trades, learning things. It's a very smooth and steady process, because these people need to learn how to do it at its like 100%, like all or nothing, and then they can provide the service for you. These are people who may be very patient or steadfast. Like, they're not gonna just jump into something like as if a fire sign. They might just go in there. Sixth house fire sign sun people, they're gonna just go in there. I mean, I have fire in my sixth house with no planets. I have Leo. So I'm just like, tell me when to go. Like, action, and I'm gonna do it. But Earth, on the other hand, they're a little different. They need to be more methodical with the way that they approach completing a task or getting things done, their performance. Okay, so that's all the sun. That's for the sun. Now let's move on to the moon. Remember, I have my little cards. These are cards that I made. Eventually, one day, I want to make some beautiful, creative. Remember, I have Leo in the sixth house. So anything that I do or perform or create or work on, I like colors, I like pop, I like expression, I like things of that nature. So eventually, I want to make little cards, things for people to study, like and it's going to be on my little touch on it, like, where I'm able to really help people learn about astrology with these beautiful little cards and things of that nature, little pocketbooks, something like really creative. So don't take my idea. No, I don't care if you do. It won't be like mine. So hey, you do what you want to do. I do what I want to do. Boom, we're in the door. Now, we're both in the door. We both get in. So the moon is your unconsciousness, your emotions, your instincts, habits, and moods, okay? So it's really, so it's your reaction to things. It's how you, it's the area of yourself that needs to be fulfilled in order to be stable. It's the emotional part of you. It's the shadow side of you in some aspects. Or it's a direct link to the shadow subconscious part of you. So your emotions and reactions respond to your outer experiences, right? So your reaction kind of funnels that that information. Your reactions, your emotions, and how you feel are being funneled into the shadow side of you, the subconscious side of you. Okay, so it's a very important area of life. Aspect of yourself, your emotions, okay, your moon, your Merkaba. Now, but this also is in your sixth house. So what does that mean? That means this is someone who is emotionally fulfilled, maybe. I didn't get to the debilitation of the sun. But that's really if you have squares and things of that nature. I wish I would have just touched on that briefly, but it would just cause a lot of more. I will do that in the end for the whole overall view of having a stellium. Okay, so like when you have your moon there, it really does depend on if it's debilitated or not. If you have a lot of squares or harsher aspects to your moon, or even just a lot of aspects, conjunctions, whatever, it's just a lot of emotions in the house of your daily tasks. So it could be kind of, it depends on how you feel to get things done. Sixth house moon people need to feel up to it to get things done, to achieve and like conquer their daily routines and tasks and their work. And so whatever they're doing, it's really important for them to be in a positive emotional space, or they will just kind of give forth have decent work. Okay. These people also may, a lot of things go on in the sixth house. So whenever you're going, whatever you're doing at work or wherever you're at work, you take a lot of pride in what you're doing, and you nurture it, you create it from the feelings within. Like you put yourself into your work and you give your all to it when you're up to it, and you're very sensitive about it. You're not really good with critical constructive criticism. Like, whereas a earth sign, they're more stable. Saturn or something there would be like, you let me know how I can do better. But emotions there is like, don't hurt my feelings. Like, I put my all into this. I want to make sure that it's greatly appreciated. I want to make sure that the work that I'm doing is being appreciated by others. Or if I give this service to you, I want you to appreciate it. A lot of the work that they do for others really does come from their heart. They do things straight from the heart. If they don't feel it, they might not want to do it. They might just feel like this, I'm not doing anything I don't feel like doing, because it's really about the doing, the action, the service. Okay. It's how we perform our work. It's how we accomplish and get things done. Okay. So if we're having our emotions in that area, there can be repression put in a child. Like, oh, you think about the Caden. Okay. So this is something that it's a Caden house. So this is something that has been consistently nurtured and fed or learned, something you're learning throughout life, this area of life. Learning how to do things, learning how to work on things at home and how you do it. Okay. Do you start something and not finish it? Do you start something and need to finish it? Okay. These are things that are something that's consistently happening throughout life, but it's also something that is really has a direct link to your emotions, that also, because your moon is there, and then it has a direct link to your subconscious. So this can cause repression. If you weren't given good advice or pat on the back or a good merit for what you've done, or the things that you have created, you can be kind of shy to wanting to perform or do things for people. You may utilize that as either a victim or a narcissistic. And okay, so I don't know why I'm getting into this, but okay, downloads happen. But yeah, so it can be forms of repression, because the negative side of the moon is repression, things that we respond or react to in an unhealthy way, because our feelings are ultimately hurt. And so if the service that we do for others or we do or we receive from others isn't quality or something nice or kind, gentle, it's their emotions here. So if it's not something in a good response, it can cause repression in this person, and then they can do things intentionally. Now this is where the moon can be a little bit manipulative. Okay, narcissistic. Like, I'm gonna do this service for you, but I expect my needs to be met. Not doing things from the heart. Okay, I don't know why I needed to say that. Some of you may feel like you need to hear that. Okay, but ultimately, I don't like to leave people with that taste in their mouth. The moon deals with your true feelings. So when you are in a healthy space, which we all can get to that place where we are in a healthy space due to us just setting the intention and changing the way we do things, the way we're responding, that self-talk that we have with ourselves. When we are in a healthy space, we feel great. We feel great to do things for others. We feel up to it. It's important for you to give yourself the self-care that's needed. And it all depends on what kind of moon quality you have. So if it's earth, whatever modality, whatever element it is, it's important to nourish yourself self-care wise, communicative, give yourself those, those mental breaks or downloads of knowledge, things of that nature. If it's If it's earthy, give yourself abilities to ground yourself and take care of yourself. Physical, five senses, something that feels earth like good to the body and the feelings and the taste buds and all that nurture. If it's fire, give yourself rest or give yourself an opportunity to express yourself creatively. If it's water, allow yourself, because moon is already water by nature. If you have a watery moon in the 6th house, it's important to make sure that you are giving yourself time to sleep, emotionally express, connect with. If you don't have anybody to talk to or anything, like write something where you're able to let your emotions flow out so that you can be a service to the world. Okay, 6th house has an amazing responsibility in humanitarianism and bringing forth a clairvoyant understanding of how we serve others and how we receive a serving as well, a service. Okay, all right, let's move on to Mercury. Where's my Mercury? So if you have Mercury in the 6th house, I cannot find my Mercury card. Oh, that's not good. Oh, here it is. So it's mind, communication, intellect, reasoning, language, intelligence. So you also want to take in consideration that the 6th house is ruled by Virgo, mutable, okay? Mercury is mutable by nature, it's communication, so it has that ebb and flow. The 6th house is already ruled by Virgo. So this is what this does is it likes to be here, okay? So Mercury in the 6th house gives a person the ability to break down, understand intellectually how to accomplish a goal, get the job done, and they receive good merit. They receive good feedback. They receive good service in return because their quality that they're giving back or giving out is from an intelligent space. So they usually cross their T's and dot their I's. These are people who are able to step by step achieve each goal and receive good reward for it. And so it's not more like the 2nd house of values where you're receiving income. But if you think about it, 6th house deals with the work that you're doing. So if you have Mercury there, the intelligence, then the mind to give, because this is a service. It's a cadent house. So it's something consistently playing out in your daily routine, in your daily life. You have the mind, because remember, the 6th house also deals with our health. Okay? Our health, routine, and it also deals with the work we do, the service that we provide. Ultimately, it's the service to others. The work, the hands-on, the action, the getting things done. So if you have Mercury there, you have the intellect, you have the mind, the ability to accomplish things first in here and then outside of you. This creates someone who provides excellent service to others. This is someone who has understanding of health. This is someone who has understanding of the physical body, because because it's in the area of health already. It's in the area of health. Okay, this area of life deals with the area of health, getting to work, how you do your job, how you get things done. So Mercury debilitated can cause all those areas of life to be challenged. It can be hard for these people to get things done because their mental block. Okay, this could cause depression. Think about it, okay? Someone who's in the mental space and needs their mind and their intellect to get things done and achieve, if they're not in a good mental space, they're not going to get things done. It's so important. The 6th house is really important, okay? It's something that we don't realize that we're utilizing and doing every day. It's important for us to be up for the tasks and to get the tasks done. And if if a big portion of getting the task done requires your Mercury to be in a good space, it's really important for you to take care of yourself. Positive self-talk is really important. You know, when you wake up in the morning, your daily routine should be set on, okay, got to get this done. I'm very excited to, knock things out. It really depends on where Mercury is. So if your Mercury is already debilitated, then the sixth house could be a challenge early on. So you want to remember, I don't like to leave bad taste in people's mouth. I don't like for people to feel as though that they're unlucky because, oh my God, I'm unlucky. I don't have I have a debilitated Mercury. I have a bunch of squares, or I know I have this challenge. I want you to know that just means that if you have squares or if you have a challenging sixth house due to your Mercury being there, it just requires a little bit more maturity and growing up to do. Because that's when things will begin to make sense to you, and you will have a understanding of the world, understanding of people, understanding of how to deal with people, understanding how to get things done, understanding how to do small jobs, and being a service to others and you receiving service from others, and the give and take is really important for you to grow a maturity level in that area if your Mercury is debilitated. Now, if it's not, hey, you guys are just very skillful people. A lot of you guys may work in the health field career. Something that requires some type of work that has an abundance of information. Because you guys are able to go through that Rolodex in your mind, your mental space, okay? And oh, I know what that is. This is what it could be. And it's just a mental person. Someone who deals with service to others, with needing to explore their mind and have memory of understanding concepts. Intelligence here, okay? This is Mercury. It's the mind. Let me make sure that I'm over. It's the way we reason. So this is someone who, reasons with anything that they're about to approach because it's in the area of the sixth house. So when it's the service that we do, or if it's odd jobs around the house, or working on something, or whatever we're doing, or needing to recall something, okay? We're utilizing our reasoning here, okay? So this I could go on and on for some reason, and still just feel like I never hit it. But yeah. Also, it deals with a lot of the nervous system. So, this is someone who could be a little jittery when they're doing things, but don't underestimate the way their approach to doing something, because it's just the way that they play it out. They know what they're doing, okay? It's their nerves. It's like a physical thing, okay? And it gets really deep, debilitated Mercury in the sixth house can also deal with a lot of health issues as well. I just needed to just bring that out for someone that might be curious about that, or whoa, especially if Cryon's there. It's really important to know what's in your sixth house. I have Cryon in the sixth house too, so there's always something like my allergies, I cut myself, I'm healing something. It's always something, the wounded healer, or so it's always something that happens to me for some strange reason. Like right now I have a little stuffy nose. I don't know why. It's I'll be cold and I get sick, and I don't know. Way off. No, but it's on subject, it's always something, I stub my toe, I hit my finger gets sprung, never huge Christ breaking things, but I do get hurt a lot, or I need to heal something a lot physically, there's something in my body, or, some type of wound, something. It's always really strange, I'll bump into, I don't know, it's really strange. I get bruised easy, I fall, I don't know. But that comes forth with the Mercury because it deals with the nervous system as well. And you have to understand that the sixth house deals with a lot of health. Okay? So, Yeah, you just want to make sure. And if you have the ruler of the first house, whatever you have in your first house, the ruler, the ruling planet, if that falls into your sixth house, it can also show if there's some type of health things going on. Side note, for people who are a little bit more into understanding astrology, I may have just planted a seed in your mind. You never know. Okay, let's move on. We're on Mercury for a long time. We got a lot more planets. So Venus, okay. Venus is your attraction, the love, relationship, beauty. It's what we um feel it feels good to us. It's what makes us feel happy. It's what makes us feel loved. It's what makes us feel admiration, okay? And it's the harmony. So these are people who Venus in the sixth house people like jobs where where it is harmonious, where there's some type of. I see people who are decorators, wedding planners, people who are in the field of work where they're doing a service for people who um, dealing with like marriage. I don't know why I'm thinking marriage, but even art, the field of art, or anything dealing with people one on one. Okay, um, what are those people? People who are really good at matchmaking, like they get a sense of what feels right, and they're like, "Oh my god, like I think you and I think you guys, I think you guys would be like you know what I'm saying." Okay, but yeah, sorry, I'm really awkward sometimes. I'm Uranus sometimes. I love Uranus. Okay, but anyways, it also deals with your sensuality. So a lot of the work you do needs to be something that you really appreciate and value. If you don't value it, you won't really consider it as something that you want to put your time and effort into. And that also deals with other people, okay? So, you may find love at work. You may find a love or passion for the work that you do or what you do for others. You may feel really good doing things for others. This is very basic and gets really in detail when you figure out what sign you have in that Venus. That really helps you to understand if it's more grounded, or if that's what you would prefer. If it's more emotional, that's what you would prefer. That's what you value. If it's more air communicative, that's what you would value and appreciate. If it's more passionate and fiery, that's what you value. That is what you appreciate, and that's it. That's the service that you will give to other people. That's the feeling you will give to other people when you're doing your work, or when you're at work, or when you're at home getting things done, or whatever it is that you do, whatever you put together and to create. Yeah. Desires, your values, pleasure, luxury. These are people who work hard for what they want. Venus in the sixth house people will work for what they desire. They probably work for their things, especially if they have Taurus there, or like some type of earth. Work is something that they can be in love with, something that they can just be dedicated to. And sometimes they don't realize that they have a family, or they have other people that they need to be there for. These are people who can ultimately just fall in love with the work that they do, the practical side of things, getting things done. And, a lot of Venus needs to be, a lot of your Venus is being activated when you're dealing with other people. So sometimes you feel like you want to do things for others a lot. You like to get things done and take care of other people, maybe. You may work to take care of other people. And it gets like so complex when you just fold back those layers of how Venus can provide both pleasure and appreciation in the areas of service to others, and in the area of your daily routine of tasks, getting things done. It's like you do things intentionally, making sure that you're doing things intentionally with the good outcome, or because it's going to make someone else happy, will really fulfill you. It will really fill your heart with love and joy and pleasure and happiness and abundance. These are really blessed people. Like if it's all in good merit, like if it's all with good virtue, I feel like Venus in the sixth house people really give back and they really feel good about it. They really provide good service, but they also could be very self-serving. These are people who could get lost in their beauty or taking care of themselves and neglecting the needs of others, or not being all the way balanced when it comes to, giving back. And so, yeah, and expectations. Like, you want, everybody needs their Venus to be stimulated. It's a pleasure part of ourselves. So when, if it's debilitated, it could cause for people to be a little bit self-serving, and, putting their needs first, or working for themselves in a more positive light. These are people who could definitely work for themselves, because it really depends on what is in their Venus. But, they may not like, if they really love service for themselves and taking care of themselves, and working for themselves, it can provide that pleasure for them. Like, it could be a dream or desire for them to have their own company or whatever, or just do their own work. Very free, loving, beauty desiring, beauty seeking, harmony seeking people when it comes to work. So that could be very challenging for people who work at McDonald's or something, right? Or work with the public where the customer service isn't that, not the customers aren't that kind. That could really throw off a Venus sixth house person. They don't appreciate that. They don't appreciate being mistreated. They want to be treated with utmost value and respect and honor and dignity and love. Balance. These are all qualities of Venus. But you do want to make sure you find out where Venus is. What sign is in Venus falling in that sixth house, okay? So let's move on to Mars. Okay, so Mars is action, okay? It's the action we take forth. These could be people who need to maybe work alone, depending on what their Mars is in. They may definitely need to work alone. And it's also what turns them on. It's their drive. Remember, Mars is your drive in all areas, okay? It's what turns you on. It's what makes you feel like power seeking, okay? I need to go after that. And it's your courage, your willpower, okay? So it really depends on what sign is in Mars, which is why it's so important to really break down these houses in detail. Like, eventually one day, oh my God, that's a lot of content. But futuristically speaking, it is possible to break down Mars in all signs that fall into the sixth house and all houses. But that's a lot. Just think about that. That's a lot. Okay. But anyways, it's your intention. Okay. So a lot of these people they do something for something. A lot of the service that they provide is because they are trying to get somewhere. They don't do things for no reason. They don't just do things from the kindness of their heart. Like, I'm going to just do this because I feel so good about doing it. And I know it'll put a smile on this person's face. Something Venus would like, But Mars it's like intention, okay? It's like, it's a motive. It's your motive. It's your motivation. It's your will, your power to will things into your life. So these people could be very successful but it depends, okay? Now, if your Mars is debilitated, if you got Mars in Cancer in work, this is someone who can probably not want to do things. Like, Oh, that could really debilitate. That could really put a like stickler on your ability to show and prove, because it really depends on how you're feeling. If Mars is in a debilitated state, meaning it's like you don't have fire there, or even like earth there. If it's more air there or water there, it could be more fickle. Like you can, it will depend on your mood, how you're feeling. If it's water, so that can affect your energy level, because Mars deals with their energy level. So it can affect the way you go about achieving, attracting, gaining, willing in things, because you might not be up for it. It affects your mood. So now you're not able to activate your Mars and get things done. If it's airy, communicative, it could be like you can be bouncing off one thing to another. You know, you might always need or desire to be mentally stimulated in order to stay focused or to get it done. If it's not stimulating you mentally, you're gonna just like drift over somewhere else where your Mars is being activated. Okay. If it's in Earth, it could be very, very, these people, Earth Mars people in the 6th house, these people need to get the gold at the end. So they're very consistent. They don't waver, they don't fold. They need to get the goal completed. They need to accomplish. Okay, they need to get things done. They need to have their step by step. They don't really like to be thrown off track. Even if it's Virgo there, they need some type of order within themselves. Like, okay, I see the details in this. That's not going to work if I do it that way. I need to do it this way. It really breaks down. So Mars in the 6th house people, you guys really, I really want to do a video on Mars in the 6th house. I just feel like it's really important. And I only feel that way because Mars is your willpower. It says getting things done. Our 6th house is our ability to get things done. Okay, so Mars in the 6th house is so critical. It's so important. If you have a debilitated Mars and it's in your 6th house of working, getting things done at home, at work, your routines, okay, your health, all this matters because Mars matters there. Mars in the 6th house, I mean, yeah, because it's a cadent house, it's something consistent. Now, Mars in the 2nd house of values, that can cause like, some on and off there. But ultimately, it's like, it's your values. It's more subconscious. It's the way you go after things, but it's not the actions you take. Now, 6th house is more practical. It's the actions you take. It's you picking up this pen and getting your homework done, or you picking up your pen and getting your work done, and it's all in your motivation, your Mars, your motive, your intention, your ability, your willpower, your ability to get things done, your aggression level. Okay, so sorry, I had to make a second part because that video was really long. It was 43 minutes. So this is going to be kind of a long one. Okay, but so that means I got to get through it. So yeah, so that's, it also deals with your lustfulness. This is someone who can, oh God. Mars, it deals with a lot of the energy levels within ourselves, the aggression levels within ourselves. And it deals with our desire and like our need to, I don't even want to say it that way. But our need to get things out and off. So, I'm going to just not even touch that. But yeah, it's how we accomplish tasks, okay? Also, Mars and you accomplishing tasks and working with people could be kind of hard to work with. These are people who could be combative. Because on a more negative, let's say you have like a debilitated Mars, these are people who could be very combative at work or at home. the person who wants to do it by themselves. I don't need help. Or when they do help, they are adding more problems than helping, you know. But overall, it is our resilience. So these people bounce back from anything work related, because they have to. Mars can't just stay down. It eventually is activated in you because it's a tool. So it's an activation in you. It's something that's sparked. But when it is really in a good space, like when Mars is in a good space, like when Mars, your transits are good, like at the day and time, like if Mars is transiting your 6th house, like this could give you a lot of productivity. You can really get things accomplished, because I don't want to just keep it negative with Mars either, because Mars is really important. And it's not always bad. Nothing is always bad, even if you have a debilitation in any area or any planet or any sign. It doesn't matter. Nothing's always bad. You can have, it means that it's a learning process set there in place, in motion, for a reason. Okay, I could keep going on and on with that, but this is a stellium video through the planet, so I can't stay on that for so long. So let's go to Jupiter. So wow, if you have, okay. So Jupiter in the 6th house. These are people who are able to who are very lucky when it comes to accomplishing tasks, when it comes to getting things done, when it comes to their health. Well, it really depends on how Jupiter is aspected in your chart, but ultimately Jupiter brings forth the gift. So when it comes to the work, you usually get gifted with great opportunities. You usually are able to get your ego stroked a little bit with the things that you're doing. Whatever it is that you work, wherever it is that you work, whatever it is that you do, you grow an arrogance and a pride for it, because it's an expansion there. You may talk about it a lot. It really depends on what sign you have there, but you may be known for the work you do. You may be given great merit for the work you do. You may be really appreciated for the work you do. You may have a very big name or a very big reputation to uphold. You may be born into families that already have that in place, where you're working for your family business or whatever, and so there's a big responsibility. You may be the golden child because of the work that you do, but it also could bring forth stress too, because if you're born into that exposure, that expansion, that luck, that high energy in the area of work or getting things done, you could be taken advantage of a lot of the times, because you're just lucky. And this is something that, if Jupiter is there, this is something that Jupiter's transits are really important for you. And you want to see when Jupiter is transiting when Jupiter right now, wherever it is, when it will transfer through your 6th house. That's really important, because that will bring forth a big abundance of something, like some type of gift or some type of learning, because Jupiter does not spare the rod. No, it doesn't. Jupiter is justice, and Jupiter is fairness and equality. So people who have 6th house Jupiter people also are very morally integrity. Like, that's really important for them. Like, the work they do, they really define the work that they do on having integrity. Okay, that's something important for them. And yeah. So let's move on to Saturn, okay? So Saturn deals with structure. It deals with law, okay? It deals with discipline. It's your ambition and ability to achieve with consistency. It's also restriction in your life, so it can cause delays. So remember, when we have that in our 6th house, these are people who could be drawn to work that deals with law enforcement, political law, law enforcement, anything dealing with the judicial system, anything dealing with the government. These are people who may prefer working in areas of power, order, structure, also a hierarchy, levels type of job where they're rankings, things of that nature. They may really be, they may have to work. These are people who may work a long time to get into certain positions. These are people who it may take a long time for them to master their craft. These are people who could be doctors, who may go to school for a long times to get into that position where their work that they do is merited. It's great. You know, these are people for some reason I'm getting a really bad deal. Okay, so this is all a good aspect. Okay? But it just gives times. It's grandfather time. So it's a time, it's a certain time period for you to gain everything you need in order for you to provide a service to the world. So this is good. This is good. It's needed. It's a part of the pioneer. It's a part of the order in what we're living in now that's actually being reconstructed in the time of this video is being made right now. Like, the whole hierarchy is kind of crumbling. A lot of things are happening in that order, in that area of life that is being reformed. Okay, but ultimately it doesn't have to be something dealing with law or politics or government or anything. It also could be dealing with just let's say your job, you moving up to being the manager, to the CEO. Okay, so it could bring forth very good merit. Now, if it's not, oh my God, these are drug addicts. These are people who, okay, like, drug addicts, what? Let me stop. Now I need a break, give a back. Remember, it's your daily routine, your task, and your service, and the service you receive. Now, if Saturn is debilitated, if this is a person's chart who deals with a lot of escapism or have addictions and things of that nature, what do you think is what do you think an outcome can be? It can be an outcome of someone who loses it all. Like, Saturn either gives you what you deserve ultimately, either way, but it also gives you, what you've put in. If you've put in good hard work ethics, and if you've been without to be with eventually, or if you've held, all of your urge and desire to attain something, then it will come full circle. Like, Saturn returns it, you will be like, wow, I deserved it. All that hard work or whatever. If you weren't doing that, if you were not putting in the effort to good things, these are people who have daily routines of picking up cans, and Saturn will give you that hard not life, but I don't want nobody to be afraid, okay? Because we all may know someone that may have Saturn in the 6th house, where they made not the best decisions within their life that caused them to have an outcome of a long suffering, to where their daily work may be a service that isn't highly respected. Remember, Saturn deals with respect, all of those things. And so it's really important to know how Saturn is. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is forever. So everyone has the ability to get their life together. If they deal with the shadow sides of their self and make sure that their virtues are righteous, then they definitely can be able to achieve and accomplish. So I don't want anyone to be put off by that or feel like, oh, it's me, I'm the one, I have that. I don't want anybody to feel that way, because it's slow and steadily wins the race. So yeah, but it also could bring forth hard lessons. Okay, so it's really important for your Saturn and the 6th house people to live righteous. Don't complain that things might be harder for you now. It will get better. It will get best. Good, better, best. You guys are people who make it to the top if you do it right. If you do it righteous. If you do it with good integrity. It's important. Okay. With good with great responsibility. I mean, with great reward comes great responsibility. So you have to put forth that action. Okay? Okay, so let's move on to, we have 3 more. I'm going to do Pluto, and then I'll do Neptune, and then I'll do, I'm going to do Pluto last. So let's do Neptune. So Neptune in the 6th house are people who often have really good intuitive abilities. These are people who may work in the field of, who have like clairvoyant, clairaudient, psychic abilities, who are like they're just very tapped into the frequency of the now, because it's a cadent house, so it's something that's happening in consistency. So 6th house is routine, it's work, it's what you do, it's the service you give, it's something that's consistently being, it's something that is every day. It's not like you run into 9th house experience or 8th house experiences every now and again, right? But every day your 3rd house, 9th house is a cadent house. So your 3rd, 6th, 9th, and 12th house is something that's always happening. So if that makes sense. I know that's okay, but so it's really important to know that, these are people who have who have spiritual gifts, who may work in the spiritual realm, because Neptune brings forth intuitive abilities. Okay, so it really depends on what your Neptune is in, but this brings forth addictions. Okay, so these could be people who have that need to have their drink every day or whatever they do every day. These are people who need to learn boundaries in workspace, boundaries in anything that they do, any task that they complete. These are people who could be codependent on others to get, what they need done, which could be more of a negative. But these are also people who have a very creative way of working and getting things done. These are people who have amazing ideas and bring forth revolutionary ideas. It's in the dream space, okay? Also, great imagination. These are people who maybe daydream a lot at work, at home. They're always in their head. They have ideas. It's just the ability to see things in a very dream state and sometimes not see things very clear. These are people who may need to know the instructions 3 or 4 times before they do it, just to get clarity, because Neptune can bring forth a haziness, an unclearness. Some people could be working at a place that they don't like just because it's their job or just the work that they do. And, they don't even like it and they don't even see clearly. So they make all these excuses for why they're doing it. And so, you could be dishonest to yourself about why you're doing things for others. It's really important not to put yourself last. To remember to always put yourself and your needs first, because you are important, you matter. Because it deals with the disillusion and deception as well. Neptune can deceive you. It can make you feel like roses and eating grapes and luxury and whatever, I don't know. It can make you feel like everything's right when it's so wrong. So you can be doing things, your work routines, your routines, and things you're doing, what you're doing it for. It could all be in a place where you're not putting yourself first. But on the other hand, if it's supported, you could definitely have ability to work in the field where you're creative. Anything dealing with movie creations or roles, scripting, things of that nature. Wow, you guys can probably do some great scripting. Or if you have that talent with the pen, or even acting, you're able to, shift into that perspective. And that idea of yourself can be a form of art, a form of work for you. Actors, writers, something creative, because Neptune needs to be a creative outlet, especially if it's in the area of work. As long as you're doing something in a creative way, you'll be able to feed that Neptune in a healthy way. But if you're doing things very structured, strategic, that needs clarity, you could very much cause a lot of stress within yourself. It could bring forth addictions that bring on health issues, a lot of things. And so it's really important to get creative, and know that, we're here to learn. If you're hearing this video and you're feeling striked by it, like, wow, that is me, then learn that, to not live so much into the fantasy and to take yourself serious. Utilize other aspects of yourself to strengthen that, or strengthen your Neptune energy by finding out what sign Neptune is in, and carry out those attributes so that you can bring forth creation, which is always great for the world, as long as it's in good light, and you're making sure your sixth house is, you're getting things done, you're being a service to the world and to others and to yourself, but it's in a creative way, and you're not being self-destructive, okay? It's really important. Uranus. So these are people who do not probably like authority. So these are people who probably need jobs or need things that are new and different and exciting. These are people who, because remember, Uranus deals with change, rebellion, eccentric, intelligence, higher knowledge, things of that nature. So anything that deals with the work or a service where they're learning as they go, or they're creating unique way to look at something, or they're thinking outside of the box when it comes to accomplishing that task, they're going to be happy. But they don't really like authority or people telling them what to do or bossing them around, because Uranus brings forth that individual oneness but wholeness. Like, I'm bringing forth this knowledge for us all, but I don't want to be told what to do or how to do it. Like, let me do it my way. It's a uniqueness. It's a rebel. Uranus is unpredictable. So these are people who you might see do one thing one way, and then the next day they do it a whole nother way. They're just always changing the way they get things done. Okay, they may work in the field of tech, or in a ever-growing field, something that's always acquiring new knowledge to teaching it or learning it or doing it. Something that's always stimulating their learning. Working in automotive service. I don't know why that downloads come to you. You got to just say it, okay? Especially if you're working with good guides, okay? But yeah. So yeah, these are people who need to have some type of change and uniqueness when it comes to the work that they do. Something that is also always learning and always evolving. That field, that area, the service that they provide, it needs to be something that's ever changing, or they will be very rebellious. They'll be the ones who make excuses for why they did it the way they did it, or just act out. And so it's really important for you, if you have a Uranus in the 6th house, to cater to your unique ability to learning, processing, and bringing forth skills, or bringing forth a service that needs to be appreciated for its adaptability, or not adaptability, but it's unpredictable and it's changing. So something that, and it's like, that's how it is. It's fixed in nature. So, you need to be appreciated for what you bring forth, or the service that you provide. So you want to make sure that you're in an area where it can be appreciated. You don't want to be working at a food chain or retail somewhere that it's, because every day is always the same thing. That can really bother you, or you will have this repressed energy. You need to be in something that's more creative, in a sense, or more ever changing. Okay, this video is really long, so let me get to Pluto, and then I'll get to the overall message for 6th house stelliums people. So Pluto is transformation, death, and rebirth. Okay, so throughout life, you'll always be learning how to evolve and grow, and become the best at whatever it is that you do. You really value what you bring forth to the world. But with it, it's never the same. Like, you may have been doing something really great for a long time, and then all of a sudden it ends. The company closes, or it just stops. Like, you're like, what? Then in that moment of helplessness or not having anything at all, you realize that you learned so much and the chapter is over. Now it's time to start a new chapter. So it's a lot of transformation going on in the area of service to others. You know, you're always evolving. Look at it that way. You don't want to look at it like it's something that is sad because it's something you were so passionate about that you no longer can do or provide. You're always battling something within your daily life or tackling some type of something, because it's always like you reach that peak and then it's like you gotta start over. You gotta reinvent yourself or start a new way of getting things done. There could be some deep-rooted trauma associated with your daily routine. It could be sparking some inner shadow work that you may need to do. Jobs, the work you do really speaks to your subconscious. Like, it could be things that you can be like, it can be, it can transform you. Like, you know, it could be something deep-rooted in you, because Pluto deals with our deep-rooted issues and subconscious feelings and beliefs. So work brings forth that transformation opportunity for us. And so it's a cadent house, meaning it's consistent. It's something that plays out in our lives every day. So in this area of life, you're always growing when it comes to your routine and working. It could be challenging for you because, you know, you're always faced with yourself in everything you do, every job you get. It's like every time you try to get somewhere, you're always running into yourself in the deep-rooted issues within yourself. So it's important to learn wherever you go in life or whatever you're working on. Know that it may bring up those type of situations, scenarios within your psyche, your mind, you know. But it's all for a reason. It's all to help you to transform. It's all to help you grow and become very wise. Pluto brings forth a wisdom that is deep in nature. And it's sometimes hard to even explain it to others, what you went through or what that job did to transform you. Or so it's really important to have integrity and stay true to yourself and listen to that inner voice within you. And go with the wave, go with it, because Pluto's always redefining itself. It's always tearing something down to rebuild it into a new, stronger structure. And so if you have that in your 6th house, this is dealing with all things that are dealing with your routine and your work, your daily lifestyle. Pets. I didn't mention anything about pets. Why did that just come to me? Pets may come out of your life. You may have a lot of pets you adopt or whatever. I don't know why I meant to say that, but you know, and it's a process, you know, that we learn. You may deal in the work. You may deal in an area where with people who pass on, like after death type of scenario, you know, working in the morgue or working with people who are at their last days, helping them transition. Pluto can deal with that. It's in depth and it's deep. Every Pluto in 6th house person does it. I'm not saying every Pluto in 6th house person does, but I'm saying that it deals with the deeper aspects of life. And it deals with source knowledge on a very deep level, like higher spectrum, understanding of that spectrum, like the lowest to the highest and everything in between, and understanding the the contrast of all things. You know, you get to the top and fall back down, and it's like once you reach the bottom, it's nowhere up else but up. Okay, so I know I'm like, what? Pluto will give you that. You'll be like, what? You won't understand it until it's over. Okay, so let's get into this stellium. All right, so for all of you guys who have a 6th house stellium, meaning you have 3 to 4 or more planets within your 6th house. 4 is really, but 3, I think that's a lot too, me personally. So if you have that, then that means that you really want to be very practical. Maybe when it comes to your daily routines, knowing and having a reason for why you work, what are you working on, and what is the service that you're providing. Because it can make or break you. It can really have an effect on your health, how you feel. It's really important to know what planets you have there, and what are you doing, and what are you bringing forth into the world. What is your daily routine like? Where do you work? How do you get things done? Well, really, the planets there will tell you how you get things done. But it also is like, are you being so hard on yourself because how other people view you, or how other people say you do things? Are you being hard on yourself because you don't feel like you're doing the best you can? Or do you feel like you're being hard on yourself because you're overextending yourself, always doing for others, working 16-hour shifts daily to just provide for your family and work? Are you workaholic? Are you doing things because you want to receive acknowledgement for it, and you're not receiving it? Does that give you anger? Does that frustrate you? Because if it does, it's important to know that you validate yourself. The work we do doesn't always get recognized. That's important to know. You may feel like you overextend yourself or give a lot of yourself or a lot of service to others without receiving that much in return, but you have to validate yourself. It's a lot of just having integrity and being comfortable with who you are and how you are, understanding that you are the way you are for a reason, and the way you get things done and do things, your daily routine, is what makes you uniquely you, and to accept yourself for how you are, because you don't want to repress things because you're not receiving the recognition from others. You validate yourself. You recognize the work you did. You don't have to tell the world, but you can be proud of yourself. Be proud of the service that you provide. Be proud and don't look at your life as though you're not being appreciated for all that you do, all that you give. Yeah. So let me know what you think about the video, and thank you so much for tuning in to Universal Love.